There we go.
So, welcome everyone to our nature healing that is going to focus on Robin and Craig's adventures in Antarctica. And clearly, penguins will be the stars of the show today, but I won't give anything more away. Um, yeah, we can just get started, Robin,
All
whenever
right.
you're
Well,
ready. Yeah,
thank you
thank you
all
so
for
much.
thank you all for being here. It's been so fun continuing to work with all the pictures and memories from it to keep it alive. Craig made a book yesterday. We're going to get a 30-page hardcover book, and I've been working on this, and it's just been so fun and needle felting my little penguins and so, but again, I thought we would start with the eight verses, and that's an Adelie penguin, very grounded and reaching for the sky. Head touches sky, feet stand on earth. Body relaxes, mind expands. Be respectful outwardly, quiet inwardly. Mind is clear, appearance is humble. No distracting thoughts. Mind expands into the vast void. Mind illuminates deep inside the body. The entire body is harmonized with chi. Harmonized with chi. And so we will begin. Uh-oh, what happened, Megan?
I don't know.
Oh, that's interesting. I just hit the down. Let me escape and start it again. Maybe it
Perfect.
needs to start again. There we go. Assuming that. I gotta move you guys over to the side. There we are.
Yep, take your time. You got it. We can see it.
So Antarctica 2025. It was, I had no preconception of what Antarctica was. None at all. We arrived and we just spent 10 days just gobsmacked by the beauty, the silence, the vastness, the groundedness of the rocks, the joy of the penguins, the amazing whales. This is a humpback whale in front of one of the millions of icebergs. And we set foot on the Antarctic continent. And that was our ship, the Viking. It's a research and cruise ship. So you're in luxury, but you're surrounded by scientists and all kinds of amazing things going on. And you get to get off the boat and play in many ways. And it's an incredibly beautifully built boat. It's very quiet, so wildlife isn't afraid of it. So we love this boat. But what's fascinating is that from the 4th century BC and then 170 CE, Aristotle and Ptolemy knew there had to be a southern continent, but it was not seen until 1820. And, there's the Arctic, which is under the constellation of the bear, but also the Arctic has bears, and they called Antarctica no bear. And indeed, it's not only about constellations, there are no bears in the Antarctic. It's the size of the United States and Mexico combined. And we were on the peninsula, on the top third of the peninsula. There's a dotted line here, and that is the Antarctic Circle. And we just got to cross that. So all our adventures were up here. There's no ice sheet on the peninsula. The massive ice sheet is down on the continent. Can I minimize you guys more? Keep moving you around. And this is the area that we were. It just shows all the different places we went to and the names of them. The first part is the 2-day passage on the Drake Passage. And we were very lucky both days. It can be a very violent ocean if it chooses. And we had relatively smooth sailing. So it is the driest continent on Earth. And my eyes and my are still telling me about it. But the ice sheet is what's really amazing. 5.4 million square miles, up to 16,000 feet deep. And it's 70% of the fresh water on Earth is in that massive ice sheet. But the peninsula does not have ice on it, so we were not in the ice sheet. And there were three types of penguins, and we were so lucky we got to see the babies. We were in a Zodiac that day and got to go really close to these guys. And this is the Gen 2 again. They walk incredible distances on the snow. I'll show you later where one of the varieties has its nest way up the top of a huge hill. But they like to scoot on their bellies, sometimes a long ways. There's the beautiful chin straps. And they're totally unafraid of humans. We're not allowed to get closer than 15 feet to them for rules to help stop the spread of bird flu, but they'll walk up to you, and so you need to walk backwards. And there's the beautiful Adelies. And this was just so spectacular, the huge, enormous mountains. And these colonies, this Adelie colony was up quite high above the sea. They, they just make you laugh. He's off for a swim. We were kayaking this day, and we got to sit in this beautiful big bay, just silently and listening to this colony. This is a fraction of the colony. We were quite happy that we were early summer because these colonies get really, really ripe. And they just, they were pretty smelly even now, but I can't even imagine by the end of summer that they'd be very, very stinky. And this, off to the right, you'll see a better picture of it later, but this is the Ukrainian Research Center. And we later in that, this was Christmas Day, Vikings sent out boats and brought the crew in for Christmas dinner, showers, and and a nice evening on board. But this is the Gen 2 penguin in just a sec, and they have a way of swimming called dolphining. Oh my God. They're just so fun to watch. So basically, we floated through a sculpture garden for 7 days. And I'm just probably not going to say much and just let you enjoy the photos and just see where this landscape takes you. They did have a drone. This was not my picture. I do have to say something about the sunshine. They told us there's only 10 days of sun in the summer in the Antarctic, and we had sun every day. They kept telling us that they'd never seen anything like this. We were so blessed with calm weather and sunshine. If, uh, if it's very blue, it means it has flipped over. I love they're called Bergie bits. This one, with the little tiny one in front, looks much like a swan. We had all kinds of strange little pieces of ice that looked like all kinds of animals. Now we're to a glacier that had recently calved. My friend that we traveled with, Linda. So here's the research station. Again, not my picture, but just the landscape behind. I think this is an amazing picture. We got to do a Zodiac ride that day that took us around all these little islands and past the station. And this Heritage Trust is really interesting. They take care of six old research stations, kind of keep them up as heritage sites. But one of their heritage sites is the sunken boat, the Endurance. And they had we in one of the lectures, these guys came on board for a day and gave us lectures and showed us a picture of the hull of the Endurance research, or not research, ship that had sailed to Antarctica. And they sit in the evening and stamp postcards from tourists or whoever. And they've told us that maybe we'll get them next Christmas. They just kind of get handed on and eventually get delivered. It's kind of cute. And our ship will just, if asked, they brought extra supplies for these guys. So I love the flexibility of Viking that's willing to help out wherever it can. So here's the ship and the little portal on the side, and this is how we got off the ship and headed out for our adventures. And this is the lowest level on the boat, filled with the kayaks and the submarines and the Zodiacs and the special ops boats. And up on above the two Zodiacs, that's the science lab up there. And they have some incredible complex equipment up there doing research in a variety of fields. And we got to go out with the water sampling team on occasion, and that was kind of fun. It was plankton and oxygen, and can't remember what all else we were sampling that day. And kayaking, of course, was probably our most favorite. And it's quite the thing to get geared up and go out in the boat, and then you have to get into the kayaks from the Zodiac. And that's you have to actually pass a test to make sure you're capable of doing that. But they help a lot. They help people that otherwise probably wouldn't quite make it. And there we were. Now that was pure bliss. It wasn't always quite this sunny, but these are great. And then we got to go ashore, and the team would go ahead and make sure the trails were ready for us and where we could go and not go. And they'd ferry us, ferry people back and forth for a good part of the day. So you'd get an opportunity to walk on shore and get up close to the colonies. And this spot they hadn't been able to visit for a couple of years because of ice. And the fact that there wasn't ice is scary, but it let us come here. We started landing at 8 in the morning, and the crew went out and built that trail before 8 in the morning. They are the hardest working, and they love what they do. And this is where actually the chin straps colonies are all up here. And they walk up this enormous hill and they slide down on their bellies. They have their trails. You can see them going across the mountainside. Quite the amazing birds. This was another landing site. So we could just hike along the edge of the snow here, close up to the colonies. Those were our friends, Skip and Linda, that we traveled with. in all our gear. It was heavy. I mean, you got your life jacket and your binoculars and your boots and your pants and your coats and hats and this was a special ops boat. It's a big, powerful boat, seats 12. And so we would go out, play amongst the icebergs, whales. And I used to live on the west coast of Vancouver Island, so I would see whales. But this was whales, hundreds. Oh, we saw whales every day, and mostly humpbacks. Down here, they don't breach much, but they'll do a lot of tail flipping. But you'll see them come up like this, so you can tell by this little notch that's little fin that it's a humpback. This one had been feeding, and they come up and create a circle of bubbles that brings the krill, kind of traps the krill, and then they come up eating it. And of course, the birds enjoy all the extras. So one night, 100 orcas showed up, and that's super pods because they're usually in much smaller, 10, 20 animals. 100 orcas showed up, and for at least 3 hours were around the ship. It was the captain in his 15 years in Antarctica had never seen anything like it. We were, we could almost feel we could reach out and touch them right off the bow of the boat. They were chasing penguins. It was, they caught this one eventually. It's very sad, but it's their food. So, but it was a show that they have never seen in any other expedition. They also killed a whale calf that night. There, these 100 whales were, but they play with their food. They threw this poor penguin like a cat throws a mouse. It was, it was quite something that night, but I guess it's something that not many people have seen down there. My poor penguin. And here's just a few shots from the ship. And I mean, it got so warm that day we were sitting out, and this is this wonderful spa pool, and what we saw at breakfast, cards with friends, and a lot of time on deck. We did lots of walking and just out looking at birds and just out enjoying the view and everything that's going on. And of course, food, way too much. I had to get weighed today. That wasn't a happy experience. And of course, it was Christmas, so we did have fun, and the staff created a choir and sang for us, and they had a competition making gingerbread houses, and so we had a Merry Christmas also. But the science, I don't have time to go into even really any of it, but they just have partnerships all over the world with all kinds of organizations. They have their own scientists. They bring on guest scientists and experts, like this guy is the ornithologist, and it's truly amazing. And the information that they collect is sent out to the world to anybody who wants it. They collect water samples every minute. They have special sampling equipment, and they go from the Arctic to the Great Lakes, down the coast of Chile, and then to the Antarctic. And that's a volume of data that no one could, get a grant to collect. So Viking's doing good work. So it was a dream come true for me. It just was absolutely amazing. And then this is the Drake Passage. And this for the Drake Passage is really calm. These swells got up to maybe 8 to 10 feet, but the boat also is so stable that this was considered, you either get the Drake Shake or the Drake Lake. And we got 2 passages, which were the Drake Lake. And where we embarked and disembarked was Ushuaia, the southernmost city in Argentina. And it seemed so strange to go back where there was green. And we got to go up to Tierra del Fuego National Park the morning we left the ship before we flew out. And the guide there also said, I don't know what it is about you guys. It rained the 50 days before this. and we had a sunny day at the park. So we were truly blessed, and we just are still taking in the experience of being in that vast, silent continent. So that's it.
I think you've left us all speechless, Robin. That's just unbelievable. Thank you so much.
It just is, it is, you know, I've done lots of fun things in my life and been lots of places, but there was something about the Antarctic. It's a mystical, magical, powerful place. But no cities, it's just quiet. Yeah. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that.
Thank you. Yeah, you visited so that we all could visit. It was important that you had all that sunshine and safe
Oh,
passage because we needed to see all that. So,
I know. And when it gets windy, all the toys, the zodiacs and the kayaks, especially the kayaks, if there's rough weather, then you'll just get the announcement, sorry, everything's canceled today. I mean, you're on the ship, it doesn't matter. It's incredible from the ship, but being right down on the water and being in a kayak silently floating past birds and is just so incredibly memorable. And so we were blessed. We had a fantastic trip.
and we are blessed too. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, I know we all have a million questions for
Yeah,
Robin,
go for
so
it.
I would love to open the floor to questions, impressions, any good information really that you'd like to share. It's just so spectacular. Has anyone else here been to Antarctica? I don't know if I know anyone else who's, I mean, it's a very, yeah.
Suan.
Yeah.
Just want to say my whole being just wanted to soak up those photos that you had of the iceberg that had flipped and were that
Oh yeah, the blue
oh
one.
oh my gosh. I just wanted to lie on it and like
I
soak
know. I know. Just all the shapes, the sizes, the colors, it just yeah.
just magnificent. Just magnificent.
Thank you, Robin. That was just, I don't know. I just had like said, wow, I don't know how many times. Uh,
You can watch it again too and go slower. It's like, oh, I don't know. I hope I wasn't too fast, but I wanted us to have an opportunity for everything today. So you can watch the recording if you want to go back and stare at the blue one.
yeah, yeah, it was so beautiful. And I'm with Suan. That color of the flipped, like
Yes.
that blue. I'm just like,
Wow.
that feels like something to meditate inside of,
I know. And then the one, you see the blue underwater too. You saw from several of those. And they were the first one that had the blue. It was actually a horseshoe. It would have been wonderful we couldn't get a picture of the whole thing from the top, but it was like this horseshoe of the iceberg. And then the whole pool was that blue. It's really amazing.
It really is. Yeah, thank you.
It's a world of black and white. You live in black and white for that whole time you're there. And it's spectacular.
Mm. Mm.
Well, it's just truly amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I had a question on the flip. Does it flip back?
Pardon? No, well, I guess they can. I don't know, actually. We saw some small ones flip, one
Yeah.
sort of medium size, and that was quite exciting to see.
Wow, I
It just,
bet.
it was even, you wonder why. It must just be a certain melt, or they become unstable because it
Yeah.
wasn't like there was huge winds blowing. That just all of a sudden, and that's why you have to be so careful not to get close to icebergs. When we were paddling, especially in the kayaks, it was like,
Oh, yeah.
stay over there, please. And some of these people that don't like to pay attention to what you're being told to do, it's like,
You're right.
please, would you come back? If that flips, you're in trouble. So
Right.
you do. And that first picture, the one with the ship, that was
Right.
the Lamar Passage, which normally you can't go through. It's very narrow, but because there was less ice, but they really took their time, and they actually showed us a video of the captain and everyone else on the bridge, and exactly what they were doing, and keep an eye on the stern. And, they were just navigating, and they got pretty close to that big bird, but we did all right. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
they're powerhouses if they are to flip on you.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It, it really is.
Thank you for those photos. I agree, the blue was like, wow. And I was feeling how fortunate for all the other passengers that you and Craig were there with your reciprocity and your chief field. You brought them orcas and good weather and
I
sunshine
guess.
and calm oceans.
I love it. Oh, Craig will love that, Stephanie. Yeah, every day, you had a briefing every day at 5 of, what happened that day. And then they put up, we have this huge, gorgeous theater with this screen that's, enormous. So they would show pictures from the day and then what we do. And every day it was like, we don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. And then the next day it's like, we mean it. Usually, they always say the same thing. We said, no, we really mean it. We don't. And the expedition leader, Mark, went, if we do this for the whole 7 days, we might have to think about giving you guys a free cruise. And by day 6, he says, I'm getting really nervous. So, yeah, they truly were blown away by the good weather that we had. And so we just soaked it up, and we're grateful every day. And it was awesome.
Thank you so much. I'm just like blown away by this presentation.
Oh,
It
thank
it
you.
was just so magnificent, right?
We we have about 1,000 more pictures.
I bet. I can't wait to see more. But like it's so majestic.
It is.
I yeah, right? And actually I recently saw a couple weeks ago on public TV a similar, I don't even know if it might have been the same boat, but they did a thing and it was all about the orca whales
Mm.
and what they did and how they surround an iceberg where the penguins are. The seals. Oh, it was the seals. That's right. Not the penguins. I thought there were some penguins in there too. But like how they surround the iceberg and they circle it to make waves. So it
Oh,
gets the seals. Did you see any seals?
we saw a few. We saw a
Okay.
few. Unfortunately, the first seals have all been killed by bird flu.
Oh.
Now I've forgotten the other one. We saw some, but not that many, and they look like a log on a beach. So their pictures were like, well, that thing there that looks like a log, yeah, that's a seal. So we didn't see an awful lot of seals, but yeah, they were around.
Okay.
And they'll lay for like 5 days, like hardly moving. So they're not the most dynamic of animals.
Mm-hmm.
They are
Now,
once they're in the ocean.
it was it cold there? Because
It
there
was
was.
cold. I was gonna say I they gave us these incredible jackets. These were our expedition jackets. And especially out on the boats. That picture of Craig sitting in his t-shirt, yeah, that was sheltered, but it was still nice. But when you're out on the boats, we had hat and coats, and
Mm-hmm.
you always, if you're off the boat, you have rain pants and rubber boots, and the rubber boots are sterilized going on and off the boat so that you don't transfer things between. So if you're out in the boats, it could be chilly, but
Mm-hmm.
it was around 30, 32, probably get up to 40, maybe a little colder at night. So not really cold. It
No,
is
not at all.
summer, but out on the water, it could get chilly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, this is terrific. Thank you so
Oh,
much for
yeah.
sharing your trip with us.
Yeah,
What a gift. A
it
gift that
was.
keeps on giving. Thank you. Mm,
Yeah,
beautiful.
it really has. And we're just loving it. Our friends that we went with are coming over for dinner after this tonight. And
Nice.
we get to keep reliving it.
Mm.
And I'll keep making penguins.
You're making those?
Yeah, these are needle felted. I just finished the Gen 2 today, and this is my chin strap. And tomorrow I'll be working on the Adeli, and they're so fun.
Oh my
I
goodness.
just print out a picture and then just start poking away.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. They just make me laugh. They just, there's just something about them, and yet they have their feet on the earth. They are definitely grounded little birds, since they never fly, but they fly through the water. I mean, getting, just that little bit you saw of them dolphining, but from the ship, you could look down and the water was clear enough that, you could see them swimming. They're just amazing swimmers.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Can you say more about bird flu? So, do they suspect that someone brought it there on a ship, or?
They didn't say how it got there, but it's kind of like how COVID spread, it just I mean, birds migrate, so not the penguins, but other birds migrate. So the seals migrate. The seals appear at this point in time worse affected down there than the birds. So it could well have come from an animal or a bird that has been up with other bird flu. And the Gen 2s are holding their own and actually increasing. They're willing to go and find a new place, but the other two species are like, this is where I need to have my nest. And if that nesting site is no longer viable, or they're not as adaptable. So the Gen 2 populations are actually increasing, whereas the other two are starting to decrease. And with all the melt, they're keeping one of the big research projects is on plankton, because if the type of plankton changes because of salinity or temperature, that might not, it's at kind of the base of the food chain, and if the krill don't like the plankton, and I mean, there was a picture that they showed us how many space shuttles, because they were trying to just do a visual of how much krill the whales eat. It's like 7 space shuttles for I don't know how many months and how many animals, but the amount of krill that even just the whales eat is massive beyond belief. And if the krill aren't going to be able to be sustainable, there'll be just a massive loss of everything. So they're watching very carefully of what's happening with plankton. And they do the penguin counts in part because, you can't count the krill, but you can count the effect of, like, if the penguins don't get enough krill. So if the penguin populations are going down, I mean, there's bird flu as well, but they're used as sort of a target species to see how everything else is doing that they can't necessarily measure.
What was it like at night? Like, what was
Oh, yes, thank you, Elizabeth. It's the first time I've ever been in 24-hour daylight. I mean, that night with the orcas, that went on till midnight. And I think we gave up at 11:30. We were just exhausted. And we had blackout curtains in our stateroom, so we could sleep. But if you look out at 10 at night and go, oh my God, look at the sun, is quite a ways up there. You've lived in Alaska, right? So, but I've never been in the, long days. I was thinking, oh, imagine the constellations. Oh no, I guess not. You don't see the stars because it's too light out.
Do the animals stay connected to that full light cycle? Like because it wouldn't be dark. Like I was curious how how
Sorry, this
puppy
dog just ran into me.
running circles playing ball. I was curious what the penguins do with because that's a lot of light for all of the whales and the penguins and the birds. Yeah.
Right. You're right. They didn't talk about that. We talked about many, many, many things, but we didn't really talk about that. That's their breeding season and, kind of their time to get all their food. And so I guess they just go, go, go. You think about it, here we rest at night but when it doesn't ever get dark, That's a really good question.
I just want to thank you for the gift that you gave us with this, showing us this trip of yours. It's, it's not something that most of us will be able to actually see or go to. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. And, watch it again at your own pace.
I definitely will. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, it was magic. It's magic. I'm so glad, I never thought I'd do trips like this and never thought I'd get to retirement and realize that for being so frugal for so many, many, many years, we kind of shocked ourselves at like, oh, we could do that. And being someone who was always so frugal, it was really hard for me to spend that kind of money, but I'm so glad I did. It's like you can't take it with you. What's your problem? So I'm thrilled that we did it. And next November, we're going to finish, we went up to the Great Lakes last year. We did the coast of Chile first, and then we did up the eastern seaboard into the Great Lakes. And, we only want to be on that boat. We don't want to go on the bigger ones. I don't want to be a tourist with 900 people. That just doesn't float my boat. But we're going to go from Florida through the Panama Canal and then down to Valparaiso, Chile. So we'll go back to where we started and then spend a week in Peru because Craig is always, his practice is based in Peru. So he'll get to go to the Sacred Valley. And so we're doing one more trip with our favorite boat. Yeah. So it'll be another big adventure later this year.
Well, you'll have to give us a
I'll
nature
do
healing
another
travel
one.
log because I know that every single person in the room wants to see that. So, yeah, we can't
Craig
wait.
to get close to his apus in Peru will
Yes. Oh,
be.
that sounds
I
awesome.
can't wait to see him just stand there in awe.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm glad I can share, and I'm so fortunate and lucky and to have been able to do that.
Thank
So
you, Rob.
I am so grateful.
Thank you so much. We are too. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and I read this week that the mountain range from
I
Peru, the
love
Andes, is
that.
the same one that goes down through into Antarctica. So, actually, you guys, yeah, anyway, so
I saw that and it just
yeah,
blew me away because that was the thing that surprised me the most. I think I just, like a kid version, the Antarctic is a sheet of ice. And to, when we first got to see it, I think I was up at like 2 a.m. when we first could just see land. And it's like, wow, those are mountains.
it's like
Big
the
mountains.
end of the Dragon Tail or something,
Yeah. And
right?
that peninsula is such a fascinating piece of land, just this big, huge thing. And then this little, the dragon tail,
Yeah.
the mountains. So that really blew me away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well, I'd
have,
love to. Oh, go ahead.
sorry, I have one more tiny question. What was the air like?
Oh, it was wonderful. It's just, fresh, wonderful, wonderful air. And, you had to be really careful down there. You had to slop on the sunscreen because there's a big ozone hole down there. And it's so dry, so it sucks everything out of you, but so worth it. But the air itself smells absolutely wonderful. And yeah, I just want to say one other thing about the ship too that I loved is it never puts an anchor down because that's, destructive to the floor. They just set their GPS coordinate and they have these 4 motors that keep the ship exactly like, okay, this is where we are, and it stays there. And then the main engines are incredibly quiet, and that allows the wildlife aren't afraid of our ship. So that's when the orcas came and played around us. I mean, we were pretty much just sitting that night anyway, but they said that we see a lot more wildlife than boats that have more noisy engines.
Well, I'd love to open it up if anyone has any particular intentions that they want to put into the vastness of Antarctica healing field. There's so much nourishment in Antarctica. I mean, 70% of our fresh water, right,
Sits in that ice,
sits in that ice, that ancient
ancient ice.
ice. Yeah, with all those ancient minerals and stories, and who even knows?
Mm. Well, I'll put Craig in the field for the second time today. He has his PET scan on Saturday, and we're still quite confident that it's nothing really bad, but it's going to be something to deal with. And so it's good practice to stay in the moment and not project. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Holding Craig and Robin in the field, especially Saturday, in their practice with medical adventures. It's all an adventure.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah. Hala. Thank you. I'll put my daughter Rena in the field. It's her 14th birthday. And her spirit is vast, so tuning it to the harmonious energy of Antarctica, all the mystery and magic. May that live on in her. Hala.
I would like to put world peace in the field.
That feels perfect. Thank you, Stephanie. Yeah. Holding world peace in our South Pole. It's like our root. Thank you. Hala.
I'll add Alex's aunt Jan. She's been hospitalized with some unexplained lower body paralysis, and they're trying to figure out what's going on.
Hala to Jan. In her medical adventures, holding her and her family and the team, those serving her and helping her heal, bringing them the clarity they need. Thank you.
I'd like to put in for all of us and our beloveds and all of humanity to have that crystalline blue clarity of those icebergs and just be able to radiate that kind of beauty all around the planet. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Swan. Hala. Yeah, it feels like just by imagining ourselves near those blue icebergs, like something restructures into cohesion in the body. There's something about that. Yeah. So allowing that to restructure our field into harmony. Thank you. Hala.
I'd like to put myself in the field. I'm scheduled for surgery next month, but I have a tooth that's not cooperating. So if I have to have that out, then the whole schedule goes crazy. So I hope it all goes well.
Holding Karen and her tooth and her whole body in the field. Allowing the field to harmonize Karen's situation. bringing the perfect outcome to her situation. Yeah, hala. Thank you.
Good, a good lesson in not being in charge.
There it is. Yep, we can do both. We can surrender and we can also order up some intentions. It's a dance. So they're both perfect. Yeah. Hala. Well, I would love to lead us in the next 10, 13 minutes or so deeper into this glorious field that's been created by all of the images that we've got to witness from Robin and Craig's adventures. And I'm just going to invite us all to close our eyes and bring in our imagination. So allow these photos that we've just seen, this black and white world of vastness and ice and rock and life, fill our bodies with the medicine of Antarctica, the medicine of our southernmost pole, the medicine of this mystical land, this land that supports us all, this land that supports all life on earth. Allowing Earth's energy to rise up into our bodies and allowing us to receive the Huanyan Qi from the heavens. Breathing into our bodies, bringing our attention further into our bodies, focusing on the center of our head, allowing our observation to go deeper and deeper into the depths of our consciousness, allowing ourselves to feel the vastness, that is so easy to connect with in these images of Antarctica. Allowing the Mingjue entirety field to fill our head inner space. Allowing the Mingjue entirety field to fill our heart inner space. Allowing the vastness to merge with our heart, our lungs, our breasts, our spine, our shoulders, arms, and hands. Allowing the vastness of the Mingjue entirety field to merge with Huanyan Palace, the solar plexus. Shoo. Bringing vastness to our organ systems. Empty, open, clear. Allowing the vastness of the Mingjue entirety field to merge with lower Dantian. Shu. Shu. Bringing vastness to our hips, lower back, pelvis. Allowing the vastness of the Mingjue entirety field to merge with our spine and central nervous system. Shu. Shu. Bringing the vastness of the Mingjue entirety field down our legs, thighs, knees, calves, ankles, feet. Shu. Shu. Allowing the Mingjue entirety field to merge with our entire bodies, filling us, flooding us with harmonious, healing energy. Shu. Shu. And we'll float like icebergs through this infinite ocean of consciousness, just for a few moments, allowing yourself to be the oneness. checking in with yourself, deciding whether you're ready to come back to continue your evening or whether you'd like to stay in this vast healing field longer. If that is the case, you can disregard what I'm going to say next. For those of us ready to continue our evenings, I'll gently invite you to start bringing some movement back to your body, moving the toes, wiggling the fingers, moving the shoulders, breathing deeper, maybe massaging the lower back. And when you're ready, opening the eyes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Robin. So I'll just make a quick announcement, and that is Elizabeth and I were thinking of trying a slightly different flow for our nature healing sessions. So we were talking about how it felt like it could be nourishing to spend longer periods of time with our topics. And so we were going to experiment this month. So the good news is that we actually are going to bring this same topic back next week. Not with a formal presentation necessarily, though if we need to revisit iceberg photos, so be it. But this is our invitation to you all. So let this good information stay present with you this week. Just let it stay with you and notice what comes up. Maybe there's an image, maybe there's a story, maybe there's a poem, maybe there's a memory, who even knows? Maybe it's related to penguins, maybe it's not related to penguins. So it doesn't need to be linear or logical. In fact, if it's not linear or logical, perfect. The invitation is to just allow this beautiful information to stay present with you and just see what unfolds. And we'll come back next week and we'll share. And if there's anything that you'd like me to put in a presentation, like an image, you can email that to us. But otherwise, no need to, or, feel free, of course, to email us if there's anything you'd like us to include in particular. But otherwise, we'll just come and have a more informal session at the beginning of sharing. And then we can, of course, do our intentions and then have maybe a longer form healing session at the end to really deepen into the energies. So that is our idea. We'll see, and we'll just see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, okay, fine, we'll go back to the other way. But, especially with Teacher Way teaching now, we have kind of 3 weeks of nature healing in between his teachings, right, every month. So we thought just by calendar month, we'll just stick with the same topic and see how it feels and flows. And it might allow us to go deeper, even deeper with these really powerful healing fields that we've been working with for the last few years. So.
Well, Megan, you have the blue picture because you have the slideshow. So
yes, I have it. I have this. Yes, I have all the photos.
You better put the blue one in for next week.
I think so. And I'm actually my current well, maybe I'll save it for next week. I have a research project that I want to do, so I'm gonna.
All right, I gotta run.
Yes, much love.
Thank you. Please give Craig our best, Robin.
Thank you, Stephanie. I will.
Thank you.
I will. I know we got this.
Yeah.
Oh,
thank you. See you all soon.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
bye.